Mr. Agard. Between all of that, there was also the introduction of a new chief financial officer in the person of one Shiva Ramnarayan. And we're going to come to that in a while. But what is important to note, comrades and members of the public, company and the union, when the lockdown around the pandemic had just started, which was in April, we met and we sat virtually and we agreed to new terms and conditions of employment and new salaries and wages for TSCT workers that would take effect in July of this year. And that was for the period January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2016, as well as for the period January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2019. So effectively we settled 2 periods. And those 2 periods, when we settled those 2 periods, it was agreed 2 things is going to happen. 1, new salaries will be paid to existing workers either June or July, and 2, retroactive salaries, what we call back pay, will be paid at the end of September 2020. What then happened was that the company paid the new salaries, and they would have scheduled at least 4 meetings to sign up the collective agreements, and every meeting that they scheduled, they then cancel the meeting, postpone the meeting, adjourn the meeting to a new date. And then, to top it all off, they refused to pay the back pay at the end of September 2020. The union wrote to them and they didn't respond. The union even wrote to the Minister of Public Utilities. He responded only to say that he got the letter and he was going to set up a meeting in due course. We wrote the chairman recently. The chairman responded and said he needs to see what it is we want to talk about. Send us what we need to talk about in writing. So everybody has been basically passing the buck. But I want to get into something very critical that's happened in TSTT. So we have the workers not receiving their retroactive salaries. And we ask ourselves why. And I want to ask Shiva Ramnarayan, the new CEO of TSTT, are you the same Shiva Ramnarayan who was employed at Caribbean Airlines Limited, CAL, and who was dismissed under allegations of fraud? Are you that same Shiva Ramnarayan, or is it maybe a different Shiva Ramnarayan? And were the allegations at CAL disproven against you? Was your name cleared if it is the same Shiva Ramnarayan? Were you cleared of those fraud allegations? Are you the same Shiva Ramnarayan who in TSTT is now deliberately withholding the retroactive salaries of the workers of TSTT? Are you the same Shiva Ramnarayan who is keeping back the retrenched workers who, because of COVID-19 pandemic, cannot now find new ways and new avenues for employment, keeping back their recalculated severance payment? Are you that same Shiva Ramnarayan? Are you the same Shiva Ramnarayan who would have interfered with the monies that is owed to TST workers? And by that I mean, do you know, Mr. Ramnarayan, of the contingency fund that was set aside to pay TST workers their back pay? And do you know if that contingency fund still exists? Do you know if the contingency fund was interfered with? Do you know if that money was siphoned and went anywhere else that was not intended to go? And are you the same Shiva Ramnarayan who is now a member of the pension plan of the company? And are you, as well as the company's CEO and other executive members, Are you all attempting to now get your hands on the money in the telco plan because it is in surplus of over 780 million? Is that the aim? I want to know. Those are some of the questions that we are asking the company today. And talking about the CEO, it is passing strange to us that Lisa Agard was the CEO of Amplia, and she's now the CEO of TSTT. Amplia, for those who will recall, Amplia is supposed to be a subsidiary of TSTT or child of TSTT, as it were. So TSTT is the parent company, and Amplia was bought by TSTT. As far as information coming to us suggests, Amplia is getting all of the money, they're getting all of the materials, they're getting all of the cream of the crop, while TSTT is suffering. And TSTT is suffering to the point where the company's management have now resorted to selling buildings in order to stay afloat. So I want to know from the company, is it true that you sold Lavantil Work Center located next to Angostura? Is it true that you sold that compound? And is it true that you sold it for next to nothing? Is it true that you also intend to sell Makoya Work Center? And is it true, as a result of selling those two properties, that you have now rented a warehouse in Dabadi that is benefiting somebody who is part of the 1%? So you have sold your property and now you're renting from somebody else. Is that true? And are you doing that simply to try to stay afloat while you prop up Amplia? And is Amplia intended to become the parent and TSTT become the child? So Amplia will then become the parent company and TSTT become a subsidiary of Amplia. Is that the deal? Is that the reason Lisa Agard was brought in? Is it that the company and the government, this Keith Rowley-led PNM government, is it that you all are in cahoots to decimate TSTT, to sell it off cheaply as if you are having a fire sale, and then to get rid of the union eventually, and to prop up Amplia, to put Amplia as the choice? Is it true? If it is not true, then let us know, and please pay the workers who are owed their money since 2014. The retrenched workers have been home since 2019 waiting for you to pay them what you owe them. Not to forget that as the Secretary General, even though the collective agreement protected me, the company also retrenched me out of sheer spite and victimization, and as a direct order from the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, because at that point in time they were attacking unions as they had done with OWT and other unions at that time. If those things are not true, we call on you to pay the workers immediately, and we call on you to rescind those wrongful acts that you have perpetrated against the union and against the workers. You have also perpetrated wrongful acts against the public, because to date, many members of the public cannot pay their phone bills either because they have not received bills at all, they have not been receiving bills on time, or when they go to query a bill, they are not getting the necessary redress from the retail stores that have now taken over the bill payments. To make it worse, the senior citizens in the country are finding it very difficult and in some instances impossible to pay their phone bills. What that has caused and is causing and is going to continue to cause is People moving from TSTT and going to other service providers. Maybe that is the aim. I don't know. And we will hope that is not the aim. We sincerely hope that is not the aim. And if it is not the aim, then we call on TSTT to immediately take stock to ensure that its revenue is protected by ensuring that the billing system is properly up and functioning and working, and that people are given more avenues and opportunities to, one, not just pay their bills, but also have their queries answered when they have issues with their bills. I have been trying my best as the Secretary General to assist anybody who reach out to me concerning the disconnection of their phone lines. I've been doing that as best as I can do. But TSTT needs to take stock of its operations and its revenue collection. And as I speak about revenue collection, I want to once again call on the government to pay the outstanding monies to TSTT. At the Spotlight on the Economy symposium that they had, I went and I made a plea to the government to pay the $1 billion owed, about that is owed to TSTT. In that same week, I can report to the public that in that same week, 4 days after that statement that was made by me, after that symposium, I can say to you that the government sent 4 checks of $50 million each to TSTT. So after saying that to the public and to the government, they made good on $200 million payment. In that forum, if you go back and look at the tape, you will see the Minister of Finance saying he knows nothing about any debt to TSTT. That was his response. In that same forum, the Prime Minister comes now and says TSTT was overbilling the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, because they were overbilling us, they're not going to pay what TSTT say is owed. They're going to pay what they feel they want to pay. I'm calling the government again. I call on you to help and to stave off the retrenchment. You refused, and Keith Rowley blatantly refused. I call on the government to pay the money that they owe to TSTT. They refused to pay all of it, they pay some of it. I call on the government again to pay the money that is owed to TSTT, and I call on TSTT to pay the money that they owe to the retrenched workers, to the active workers, and to the retirees. And as I speak about retirees, I want to say that regarding the retirees, there is a plan afoot to interfere with their pension plan. The company and the union were involved in talks as recent as September the 9th this year. Charles Carter was representing the company along with Carol David and the IR department. When Lisa Agard came into the company, one of her first acts in axing somebody was to get rid of Charles Carter. She then moved Carol David from in charge of HR and placed her in charge strictly of traditional services. To this day, the union does not know who is now in charge of HR. So what the company is doing is that they are systematically removing individuals from positions in the company who is assisting to bring relief to the pensioners. They're not doing that anymore. And we are calling on the company to stop interfering with the pension plan money and to increase the pension of pensioners. You will not believe if I say to you, members of the public, that in this day and age, TSTT have pensioners receiving less than $800 a month as a pension. You will not believe that. You also may not believe if I tell you that the pension plan has over $780 million in surplus that they could afford to increase the pension of pensioners in the telco plan. But I suspect, and I hope I'm wrong, I suspect that is the company's plan to somehow get their hands on that 780 million to their benefit and to the detriment of the pensioners. Before COVID-19 hit us, the pensioners and the union were protesting left, right, and center. We protested the company, we protested the trustees, and we were going on to the central bank and the parliament until COVID came. We are still calling on the government to please intervene into these affairs in TSTT and ensure that the workers and the members of the public and the retirees especially are treated fairly. Not to forget all of the 500 plus workers who were wrongfully retrenched. I call on the company to get rid of Shiva Ramnarayan as the Chief Financial Officer of TSTT. He has a history. If it is the same Shiva Ramnarayan, he has a history with Caribbean Airlines where he was accused of fraud and improprieties at Caribbean Airlines. If the reports in the Guardian newspaper are correct, he has a history, if that is indeed correct. And if it is the same Shiva Ramnarayan with that same history, what is he doing in TSTT? He needs to be removed from TSTT immediately. I call on the chairman of TSTT and the cabinet of TSTT and the Minister of Public Utilities to ensure that Lisa Eggert is only an interim CEO and she's not confirmed as CEO. Because Lisa's first incarnation in TSTT was as a cable and wireless director. She came directly from Amplia into TSTT recently, and she's not here for the benefit and interest of TSTT. She's only here for the benefit and interest of Amplia. Let's get that straight. And while I'm at it, could somebody from the government or the chairman tell us what is the real reason Ronald Walcott is no longer the CEO of TSTT? Does it have anything to do with the thousands of phones that was in a Miami warehouse that was not sold or distributed and was therefore wasted? Does it have anything to do with the corruption that took place in acquiring Amplia? What is the real reason Ronald Walcott is no longer in TSTT? Did it have to do with the negotiation being settled and he did not inform the board? There are so many unanswered questions as to why he's not here. But we want questions answered as to when will workers and retirees and retrenched workers get the money that is entitled to them, that you agreed to pay. That you agreed to pay. And to make matters worse, the company, in a very deliberate and calculated attack on the workers, went to the industrial court and tried to withdraw the negotiation matter. And the president of the court had to put them in the place and tell them, you can't do that. Until and unless I have a signed collective agreement and registered by me, you cannot withdraw a negotiation or break down the collective agreement that has been brought here by the Minister of Labor. So I suspect if they take that warning seriously from the president of the court, I suspect maybe before the week is done, they're going to call the union to sign off the collective agreement. That is just one part. I want to know when are workers going to get their money. That is what we want to know. We want to know when Shiva Ramnarayan is going to leave, and we want to know what has happened to the contingency fund that was put aside for workers that is no longer there to pay the workers. Who interfered with it and why? We want to know that. And when those things are answered, heads must roll. And we call on the government to ensure that heads roll. Members of the media, I thank you, and if I can take any questions from you now, I'll take those questions.
Regarding this
Yes.
She was recently on a TTT when she chairperson of the TTT board, which was a transitional board.
Yes.
This could be the same thing that this is a transitional board from TST to Ampere.
Well, that is what we suspect, and we certainly hope not. Because, of course, Lisa has made the wrongs. Lisa has been TSCT, she's at NWRHA, and a number of other companies. And recently, she was in charge of Ampere, now she's in charge of TSCT. She came in as a cable and wireless operative, director as a matter of fact, when she first came into TSCT, very early on. Cable and wireless is no longer allowed in the boardroom of TSTT, since they now are a direct competitor to TSTT. Their shares have not been sold, so they still receive dividends from TSTT whenever they declare profits. But is Lisa here to ensure the interests of cable and wireless and Ampere is met, or is she here for the interests of TSTT? We feel it is not for the interests of TSTT. That's what we feel. Yeah. So TTT, TV6, CNC3, let me thank you all for being present here this morning. Let me thank all of the viewers we have on Facebook. Let me also thank you all, members of the public, for tuning in and for being part of this live press conference. We sincerely hope that we're going to get the answers from the government that we are looking for regarding the future and the viability of TSCT. It cannot continue as it's going. If it does, there will no longer be a TSCT.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tamika Waldron. I'm your host on Kaiser Corner today, and we have the man of the hour, Mr. Winston Gypsy Peters, here with us at his home in Mayaro. Mr. Peters, how are you today?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening, and thank you for coming to Mayaro. Welcome to our beautiful Mayaro.
Thank you very much. So you're born in Mayaro, Mr. Peters?
I'm Mayaro, born and raised.
Born and raised in Mayaro. And how has that been for you?
Great. It has been very, very, very good.
Okay. Okay, so one of the questions I'd like to ask you is how or when did you get the name Gypsy?
I actually got the name Gypsy since I was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the fact is that, they call me Gypsy because my grandparents and I guess my parents didn't know exactly what hyperactive meant. So the colloquial name for hyperactive is Gypsy. God, they say you're a gypsy person, meaning I can't stay one place. I'm always, somewhere. I'm always fidgeting. I always active on what have you.
Right.
So, and I grew up to be that kind of man as well. So I was a very hyperactive child.
Active, you're very active.
Very hyperactive.
Okay. Okay, Gypsy. At what age did you start your musical career and what inspired you to do so?
Well, I started singing when I was 4 years old. When I was 4 years old, I wrote my first song at 4 years old, and I performed my first song at 4 years old, right here in Mayaro at the Village Hall. There's a man named Mr. Shovington, God rest his soul, and Mr. Shovington come and asked my grandparents to take me to the Village Hall to sing in something that he was having, because I was a real brazen 4-year-old. I may not have been your regular 4-year-old, I was one of them 4-year-old who was very active, like I said.
Gypsy.
Yes. And Mr. Shovington saw that in me, and he took me to the Mayaro Village Hall in a competition, which I sang and won, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You sang at 4 years old?
At 4 years old. I wrote my own song. It wasn't a song that had anything really big to it, but it was my song. The song was Teresa was mad here in Trinidad. She went to BG, she danced with a frying monkey. She went to Tobago, she danced with a male kobo. Now she eating some big rat like a garapat. No, these are just things that I hear people say, eh?
Right.
So I guess I just put it together in my...
At 4 years old, that was awesome. That was very awesome.
And I've been writing my own song ever since.
Ever since?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very talented. You're a very talented man. I've grown to see you perform over the years.
Yes.
I've seen you on television. I've seen you while growing up performing at the March Gras in 1997. You won the Calypso Monarch with Little Black Boy. That was a beautiful song, and it touched so many lives and the hearts of so many. What inspired you to write that song?
Well, I wrote Little Black Boy because of the circumstances. It's almost self-explanatory. I'm a black person. I'm a black boy myself, and when you look around today, and you see the plight of the young black men in particular, I think that they needed somebody to say something to them that would help them in some way to realize that we can take a different course in our lives and we can do things in a little different way to make it better. And I thought that just like advertisement, you do advertisement because you want to sell a product.
Yes.
Well, it's the same thing. I try to sell that kind of thought wave to them. So Little Black Boy, go to school and learn, show some concern, think about your race. The black race is a proud one. Don't care what nobody say to you, Education is the key that can get you off the streets and off poverty. And ask me, I can tell you. Because I was born here in Mayaro, and I grew up picking up coconuts, catching crab, selling bottles, and agriculture. Well, I still hold on to the agriculture regardless of what I've become, because I actually love planting stuff. I love agriculture. I love it. So I still do that. But the other things I have been able to, because of education, of course, I have been able to relinquish those. Now if I catch crab it's because I want to. And if I pick up bottles it's in my own place. You know, that kind of thing. So
I understand.
But you know, but that is what the whole thing is about. It's about trying to get them to understand that there's much more to life than what we are doing to ourselves. And that's what Little Black Boy is all about.
It was a beautiful song.
It is.
It has touched the lives of many, and it has gone on throughout the years.
Yes.
From generation to generation. A lot of people have grown to know the song. So it is one of those
A lot of
songs
people
that
still
have-
request it from me. It still helps me to make a living. I still perform it wherever I go. I perform it to white audiences because, believe it or not, we have white people in the world who are exactly like our black people. They're in the vast minority
Yeah.
within their own, existence, but they are like that nonetheless. So I still perform Little Black Boy wherever I go. People request it. So I perform Little Black Boy. I've sung quite a bit of songs like Joe's, sung Idle Company. I have quite a few songs that is dedicated to trying to help young black people in particular.
in this world today.
Help everybody,
Yes.
but young black people in particular. Other people listen to your song too, and strange enough, some of them have the same experience.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back on Kaiso Corner.
How to write, he never study about that. All he study was his speakers, his sneakers and clothes. He learned how to dress, he learned how to pose. Now he can't get no work, he can't get no job. He decide to steal and he decide to rob. But little black boy couldn't last long at all. The police put a bullet through his Duncy head skull. Little black Trinidad, oh she was a beauty, with wealth that few surpassed. And in her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took by bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa.
And we're back here on Kaiso Corner, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tamika Waldron, your host, with Mr. Winston Gypsy Peters. Welcome back, Mr. Peters.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we have been talking about your Calypso career. For those of you who missed it, we spoke about him being brought up in Mayaro, and also his song Little Black Boy, him winning the Calypso Monarch in 1997. So I'd like to ask you, what are some of your challenges as a Calypsonian?
Let me be honest and say that I have really never had any challenges as a Calypsonian. And that might sound strange to a lot of people, but the hardest challenge that I have was in America, when I tried to do other things. Not as a Calypsonian, but as an entertainer, I wanted to get into things, different things. And those were the hardest things to do. But the Calypso had opened the door for me to do them. And as a Calypsonian, I've never really had any problems. I was very lucky. The first song that I ever sang as an adult was a hit song. I did a song called 4Kane, as a recorded song, and that was big. Then I did, I had a couple of other songs that were huge successes for me. So I really never, I can't say that as a Calypsonian I had any real challenge in breaking through. I guess the people who were before me made all the breakthroughs for me. And then my talent just helped me to do the rest. But I've never had any challenges. Like, I went to the Calypso tent at a young age, and the first day I went on a Calypso tent stage, I have never been off the stage unless I choose to be off. I hear Calypsonians talking about they sitting on the bench, and they could not go on, and they couldn't. I had never had those kind of challenges. When I came to town, in the days when people were we were still getting $20 and $25 a week, I was getting exactly that and even more. So
for your talent.
Yes, so I guess you could say I was lucky.
You were, or blessed.
Well, blessed, lucky, and talented.
Yes, you were.
And I've never been left out of a Calypso program in a Calypso tent. I've been to the semifinals. The only person that must have been to the semifinal more than me is Chalk Dust, and that is questionable. I've been to the finals. More time than most Calypsonians have been even singing longer than I have. So
you've had a wonderful Calypso career.
Yeah, I have a wonderful entertaining career. I'm an entertainer. I'm a Calypsonian by choice, but I'm an entertainer by profession.
Because it's your passion.
It is my passion, and that's what I do, and that's what I was born to do. Really, anything else that I have done is my civic duty and peripheral to my entertainment career, because I am an entertainer. That's what I do.
Okay, so what are some of your most memorable moments as a musician, a Calypsonian?
Well, I have had many memorable moments, One of the highlights is, of course, most Calypsonians and most people who are involved in the Calypso art form aspire to win the Calypso Monarch, and I have done that. I'm an extempo artist, and I have won that more times than anybody else.
Which is true.
Yeah, I have. So I've had a lot of memorable moments. I'm having a memorable moment right this minute that is really good for me, because one of the songs that I wrote, The Sinking Ship, is right now playing a role in the American election.
So I've seen it.
So,
I have seen it.
So it is. I am fortunate.
You are.
I am fortunate. I've had many, 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 many memorable moments with my songs. My songs have been performed by different artists in the world. It has been performed by myself all over the world. I had an opportunity to go to places that people only dream about. So I have had a real dream run,
Can you extempo the Captain Your Ship is Sinking for us?
Well, I don't have to extempo it. That's a written song.
Well,
yes, but it's the Trinidad. A luxury liner sailing the Caribbean Sea with an old captain named Eric Williams. For years sailed smooth and free, but sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. My blood crawl, things started to fall. Hold my head when I sail a ball with a ball in. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. We don't know. In America, they're using my song. They are trying to use it to bring Trump down. They're doing it. It's not a real shame. All they did with the song is change the name. and they're doing it properly. And that mean a lot to me. Now we have to wait and see what it do to that country. The blood will crawl if Trump will fall. Some will dance in the street and all cause they're singing, Captain, Mr. Trump, your ship is sinking. Captain, Captain Trump, the seas are rough. Even Corona against you, sir. Well, what would you do again? Look like Trump in real pain. He must be going insane when they're balling. Trumpy, your ship is sinking. Trumpy, America war. That was just funny.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more right here on Kaiso Corner.
The Trinidad in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help all those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain.
Miss, that's a bad thing you're doing there, you know.
What is that, sir? What am I doing that is not right? Why is so fast?
Madam, you don't have to get on, so. You here and your son quite in the water.
But I'm watching him. I'm preparing my food here, but I'm watching him. If anything should happen to him, I will save him.
Mom, I hear you, you know. But what I'm saying is this. Look where you are. Look where he is. If a wave or undercurrent come, how would you be able to save him from quite here?
Oh, I see.
Mom, you're supposed to be with him in the water holding his hand, you know. It's not good enough to just try on him, you know. Yeah, what? You could go in the water with him and I could handle the pot, you know.
You just want some food or you're trying something? I'll go and get him from the water.
Parents, do not leave your children unattended in the water. It is not enough to watch them from a distance. Your children are the future. Protect them.
I'm telling you, well, I want you to know nobody is changing this music, so I'm telling you, you must understand. Right now we must respect each other. I'm telling you, well, I find it strange. This fella wants the music to change. Listen to me, what I have to say. Tonight is Saturday morning day.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kaiso Corner. My name is Tamika Waldron and I'm here with Winston Gypsy Peters. Mr. Peters, we have been chatting a bit. You have sung for me and we've spoken about your musical career, Little Black Boy, Captain Your Ship is Sinking. It has been used in Trump's, in the
American
campaign for Trump.
Against Trump. To bring Trump
Yes.
down. Yes.
And I would really like to say that your music has gotten very far. It has reached a lot of people worldwide.
Yes.
It is not just in Trinidad and Tobago or the Caribbean. It has gotten worldwide and you're known to a lot of people out there. You've touched the hearts of many. You have reached the homes of many.
And I'm not finished, by the way.
Carry on.
I'm not finished because I am writing songs, and you know, like I was on a frequency sometime the other day, and they was telling me that Calypsonian's going to see trouble now because we're not having any carnival next year. And I'm saying, why would Calypsonians see trouble? Nobody's preventing the Calypsonian from writing songs like you're accustomed doing and sing.
Exactly.
It gives you an opportunity now to divorce yourselves from the idea that our calypso should be only sung for carnival.
Right.
So I don't see that as a downside. I see it as an upside for calypsonians to diversify yourself. But if you want to just sing about Pandey and Rowley and Kamla and whoever, well then you have to wait. But if you want to be innovative, creative, and use your God-given talent to write songs and sing about every and anything, the world is a big place. And you can sing songs that would reach the world.
And that is what you have done thus far, and it is something that has always been a part of our culture. We have youths growing up from small and they are singing, they're calypso,
of course.
They are winning.
Of course.
You know, they're entering the school calypso competitions, they're entering all genres, I should say.
Yes, and this is the thing about calypso. Calypso should not be, pinholed into any festival or any one festivity that you have to have.
It shouldn't be seasonal.
No, you can sing it. It is not. It is the calypsonian themselves that make it that way.
It's music.
Nothing is preventing you from singing your song now. From singing about anything. We have world events right now that are waiting to be sung on. Write songs, write and sing. What's your problem? Calypso is your preferred genre? Then go ahead and sing. Then go ahead and sing calypso. Don't wait for carnival. Suppose carnival never come again. That mean you are retired from singing? Well, the short answer to that should be no.
Music is a beautiful thing.
It's the best
I believe
thing.
It's a beautiful thing, and it
do
speaks
I.
volumes.
So
It
do
touches many lives in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So
if there is such a thing as coming back here, I want to come back exactly doing what I'm doing. Not changing a thing. I want to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm singing, I'm involved in politics. All of them is helping humanity. All of them is helping people to survive, helping people that might be less fortunate than yourself to do things, helping them in ways that they would not be helped before.
Normally,
people don't understand how much a song helps people, Songs help. When you listen to a well-written song about certain things, it widens your scope of thinking about that same particular thing that you yourself couldn't think about. But when you hear a well-written song about that thing, you start to think, but wow, I wasn't thinking about that all the time. But this is, and I think that's why God gives people like us the talent to do that. And we must use it.
because it's like telling a story.
Yeah,
And
it is.
within singing the song, you allow the listeners to read into that and see or visualize that story.
That is why I try to write the type of songs that I write and sing the type of songs that I sing. It is not to say that I would not sing songs that is purely for entertainment purposes. Of course I'll do that. Of course you have to do that as an entertainer. But in the main, I'm a social commentator. And because of that, I write social commentaries. And that is pertaining to human beings, not just Trinidadians or Tobagonians or Jamaicans or anything.
It's to everyone.
If I want to write a song about Trinidad that is specific to Trinidad, then I will do that.
Right.
But in the main, when I write songs that could be sung anywhere in the world, because the human experience is exactly that. The human experience is not isolated to Trinidad and Tobago at all. So the human experience should be captured in your writings. And that's what I seek to do. David Rudder, he does the same, except when, like I said, if you want to sing a song about Trinidad, then we do that.
Right.
But in the main, we want to sing a song. You sing a song that anybody could put it on any part of the world and understand what you're saying. Who knew that these people were listening to my song and understanding the connotation of the sinking ship in order to do it now. They understand, and that's why they're using it for basically the same purpose that it was used here for.
Yes.
And it is used throughout the Caribbean in all the elections. It is for that same purpose. So, write songs and sing songs and do the things that God gives you the talent to do. That's
Tell your story, share your stories.
Tell yours, and not just your story. Tell your story. Tell the people's story.
And tell history.
Yes, and put history in its perspective. And that's what we do as Calypsonian. Real Calypsonian I'm talking about, not just people who play this singing a song and try to sing a song. Because it have real everything, and it have people who try to do that. Always, it will always have that. It have people like Sparrow. He wasn't born to do anything else. Kitchener wasn't born to do anything else. That's what they came here for. They came here exactly for that. Bob Marley came here to do exactly what he did and left. That is what you're born for. I am here to do exactly what I'm doing. That's what I was born for. That's my purpose.
What or which one of your songs would you say you hold dearest to your heart?
I wrote a song called Yesterday's Children.
Yesterday's Children.
Yesterday's Children. You ever heard it?
No, I haven't.
With trembling feet and sticks she stand, her blurred eyesight gaze on this line she's slave for. She feels the pains of yesterday, the memories time can't take away, yet only time and time alone can ease her. And to those for whom she slaved, now deems her a liability, and we think that she has long outlived her usefulness to society. But think carefully, just how could that be? We should remember yesterday's children. Yesterday's children. They took the strain, they felt the pain, they made the mold that shape our world. They are yesterday's children. Yesterday's children. So we must be careful. Be careful with what we do, cause when tomorrow comes, if we are lucky, we may become yesterday's children too. And it's one of those songs that is very profound. Because when I wrote that song, I was a young man. And today I'm a child of yesterday. As indeed, if you live long enough, you would become that to the children of the day when you are my age. So the thing about it is that these are profound thoughts of expressions. These are realistic. And that's the kind of song that I write. And to me, that's the song, that's one of the songs that I like the best. That's one of my personal songs. I wrote that song for my grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It was because of her I wrote that song.
Oh. Well, you've known to be the ex-tempo king. Yes. Throughout the years, you have had ex-tempo awards, which we have people like Black Sage, Lingo, Lady Africa, just to name a few. Many ex-tempo awards.
Myron B.
And you are, in fact, legendary.
Well, I thank you.
You are one of the best Calypsonians we've seen so far. There are many, yes, but you are one of the best. Can you extempo a little something about the budget for us?
Well, as everybody knows, the budget would be read tomorrow. Some will cry and some will laugh. Some want to tear the country in half. But the way that I see, that's not how it should be. Because the government is making a pretty good budget to read for we. I know it is not a shame. We must know life today is not the same as it was yesterday. So when the budget is passed, we should say at last, the government and the people have come a long way. That is what we would have to say. The government and the people have come a long way.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the ex-tempo king himself, Mr. Winston Gypsy Peters. It has been a pleasure having you here with us today on Kaiso Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tamika Waldron. I'm your host. See you next time right here on Kaiso Corner.
I'm telling you, listen, Africa, well, I find you taking a joke too far. You come in here and sounding so terrible, telling people that how you invisible. I telling you, well, that's a problem. You must be invisible to Lingo and them. But looking at you, a girl is real class. Look like I look at you a magnifying glass.
presidential candidate for Team Sentinel along with several members of my team here. This morning's press conference is to deal with some specific and very serious issues that has been plaguing the PSA electoral process. Mainly, number one, Team Sentinel has credible information that members of various teams are not financial and they are running in this PSA elections. Particularly, a candidate on the Labour Warriors team, after filing her nomination papers, it was discovered that dues was missing. A candidate from Premium Value team led by Mr. Greg Hoover, after filing that candidate's nomination papers, it was discovered that dues were also missing. But also the most damaging one is the member on the Wason slates of Game Changers who has a candidate on his team with 8 months dues missing, which under our bylaws is no longer a member of this association. But also under the Concerned Public Officers team led by Curtis Coffey. After that individual would have filed her nomination papers, it was discovered that the prerequisite 10 seconders, there is only 9. Now, the General Council of the PSA met on 2 occasions, which is the 23rd of October and concluded on the 30th of October. In that meeting, the General Council would have actually taken a decision to breach the bylaws of the association by allowing these individuals to stand for office. Our bylaws is clear when it comes to filing of nomination documents that all nominators and seconders and candidates must be members in good standing. But a matter of fact, it goes even deeper than this. Any candidate whose membership, whose dues are not consistently paid for that 24 months period, guess what? Every person that candidate on his team nominated or seconded, their candidacy supposed to be declared null and void by not only the General Council, but by the elections officer. People, this is serious issues, and I want to go back to a case that happened in the SWWTU. A similar matter occurred in the SWWTU, and therefore that person who would have filed his candidacy several years ago, and it was discovered that that person's dues are not up to date. Everyone who he either nominated or seconded not supposed to stand for office. So what we understand is the General Council on Friday the 30th just simply came to an end. But guess what? The individual who chaired that General Council meeting has on his slate the candidate who has not paid dues for over 8 months, which is Wason Duke, and he would have sat on that committee and chaired it. People, we have a serious breach of the election laws and rules in this organization. And therefore we are calling upon the elections officer to bring remedy to this situation, because those individuals' names not supposed to be on any ballot. This is not a situation where Team Sentinel is trying to win by default. No. This is about having and preserving the integrity of the election process in the PSA. And a matter of fact, you would realize team members from Labour Warriors, Premium Value, Concerned Public Officers, and Game Changers, they are suddenly quiet on these issues because they have been found wanted. So what it is it that the General Council took a decision to conspire with members of other teams just to breach the laws of the association? No, people. I am calling upon Mr. Malcolm, Mr. Selwyn Malcolm, to remedy this situation here once and for all. Another issue that has taken place is on Monday, in accordance with the election rules, a preliminary list of electors was published in the Guardian newspapers. Upon that list being published, it was discovered by Team Sentinel and probably other teams that over 19 ministries and departments are virtually missing. We did the calculation and it turns out that over 7,300 members' names are missing. Now also in accordance with the election rules, those members after Monday only has 2 days to file and make representation on their own behalf. How it is that 7,300 names in the PSA's list of electors are gone missing? How it is the Ministry of Finance, the Agricultural Development Bank, the Ministry of Community Development, which I am a candidate, a presidential candidate, which filed nomination papers and my candidacy was solidified. My entire ministry is missing. People, in accordance with the election rules, the General Secretary, after the election officer is appointed, has 14 days to submit a list of eligible voters to the elections officer. I'm calling upon Ms. Charlene Sujit Dwayaka, who is the General Secretary under the leadership of her now and soon to be ex-president of the PSA, to say to the membership what happened to those over 19 ministries and 7,300 members missing from the preliminary list. I am also calling upon Ms.